We, the people of the United States of America, do not consent. A production from A Voice in the Dark, Lori Elliot. I created this series back in 2019 during COVID-19 shutdown. I believe this subject must be reviewed, renewed, and acted upon by our active participation in local and state government and federal. To be sure, we all vote and make sure we do not fall below the poverty level. So our votes matter now, and our active participation in all government matters now more than ever. We do not consent. The above statement should be popping up on all social media and put as bumper stickers on our vehicles and as banners next to our flags. I'll see about having some made up to sell. The importance of that statement lets the powers that be know we do not consent to the tyranny and destruction of our country or the world. The world leaders have no choice but to conform to our will. So we just might want to use our rights. They override any and all rules by the world governing parties. Many truths have been hidden from us. Don't believe me? Start using the above statement. I do not consent. We do not consent. Then we better have some better solutions to go by. I would suggest that we start with putting back our regulations and busting up the monopolies. Proclamation, United we stand, divided we fall. April 2nd, 2020, Wednesday, day 11, COVID-19. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. After many days of reflecting just what that statement, we the people, meant to our forefathers and the country of men, women, and a beautiful, rich new space on the earth, was so moved to create such an astounding document, which laws and bylaws and amendments with the Bill of Rights, to forge a new world for themselves with fairness, a voice for input, a freedom to live as they chose, religiously, and partisanship that would give value and consideration of each. A separation of church and state, so that we always would rule by minds that were in tune with the needs of the people, individual states, and the world. We rose as a major power, leaving some scars of which we created for ourselves here. We learned that being big bad dog of the world felt good. We also learned and faltered at times to uphold the greatest creed in the known world for the greatest good of all. As we rose to power, we lost sight somewhere along the way that we are the one country that has expressed and given freedom to all those who passed through the Staten Island migration, because we were proud to lend a helping hand, for our grandfathers and grandmothers also came this way. Would it be easy for a newbie in this country? No, not really. But they also knew that with each day that they would contribute by working and service to community, that in time this too would be called their home. Note, we are facing great change, and we should shore up our truths with clarity, with reality. In the last paragraph, slide number 3, we talked about immigration as a common thing. So here is where I wish to add my perception of current immigration and past 50 or so years. What I have seen are strong individuals and families coming from every corner of the world. They come knowing they will have to work hard and become a good neighbor and citizen to make it here. Many live in groups of families at first to save money, to build a business, and buy a home in a good neighborhood. Their dreams are the same as ours. And our forefathers, are there a few misfits? Of course. I guarantee not as many as our own homegrown trouble. They are knowledgeable on helpful loans from the government. I'm learning about these things now, and there seems to be something for everyone. We just didn't know about them. The point being, get to know your neighbors. Talk to the Indian owner of the convenient mart. Trust me, they are kind. One said Merry Christmas to me one year. I said Happy Holidays. Do you have a special holiday this time of year? He stopped and looked at me in the eyes. He smiled real big and he said, "Yes, we do." I asked the name of the holiday. I am not good at other languages and have since forgotten. However, at that moment, we became Americans. Two people sharing in a country that has room for each of us and our own religions and holidays. Please take time to meet, even if just once without stigma, and be with another and include them in the topic. We should always make room for new and different cultures. We are all humans with different cultures and skin tones, tones of which were important to our native weather. It should never divide us. It should bring us closer and expand our own selves. Let us grasp the fundamental understanding of the Constitution and its truest purpose, that of liberty and justice for all, and freedom. Freedom to speak, to protest peacefully, to rise up with a complaint and be heard, to bear arms so that we may always defend our rights to the Constitution, of which was written to keep our freedom from any tyranny, ruling bodies that destroy or walk against the greater good of all. I believe this time of distance and separation, we all could reflect and observe our own country. We should look at our original intent, then examine that which is up to now a document that spelled out very informatively our way of common good, common concern, and common respect for each of us to live and worship as we please, bringing harm to no one. Note, we must, each of us, ask in these trying times, what is freedom to each of us? How important is it for each of us to have our input on our futures? Our forefathers did have a bit of a hidden agenda. They did want to break from colonial type ruling, so they may have commerce and grow independently from the monarchs of the world. Thus, they stipulated that no conglomerates would be allowed, for they knew the horrors of this type of tyranny. Now, do not lose your seat or place now, because they also made it clear that no poor would have a right to vote. This kept all the laws and regulations up to the top 1%, basically. So we need to each review word by word. These were Masons. They understood the use of words. They did not mix them at all, and they wrote it so any layman could understand it. They merely wanted to hold their seat amongst the powerful. So about 40 to 50 years ago, the regulations that kept monopolies out of this country started changing. We then, as a people, wrote new laws to stop and circumvent said buyouts that lead to a monopoly of goods so that a fair cost would always be there, that the truth in the news would be there due to competition, and so on. Look hard at what we are seeing being done on a daily basis to our country and laws and our Constitution. I assure you this country will not survive this Romanistic takeover, which was the plan all along. Henceforth, read the Constitution, get involved. Don't sit around cussing and throwing around propaganda. Because, baby, we are all under this rule. This has nothing to do with red versus blue or versus green. I can only hope that my faith in the human condition, the heart of the human condition, will rise again, not from fear or hate, but from the heart that says we, the people of the United States, will reassess that which we have come from, which is the original intent. We will sit in stillness and without thought of any other's responsibilities, only our own, to those beautiful intentions of our forefathers, who knew what created tyranny and how to stop it from happening, how to regulate businesses so no one corporation could hold the bulk of any product, so that there would be fair trade, a responsibility for those companies in our communities to provide not only fair wages, but also a sense of true community. Parks, clean air, clean water, safe working places, better hours for the employee, a giving back to the community who, by virtue of working for said company while being paid, has also given the appreciation to the total community. A spiritual freedom to worship our God, gods, goddesses, or non, without ridicule or restriction, while not bringing harm to anyone. Let us start with the concept of blind justice as a moral principle, a proposition or value that is a guide for behavior or evaluation. Laws are created upon this principle that create the system for which they protect, a system to protect the interest and the liberties of the citizenry, including those that may be in the minority. This is the basis of the amendments and the Bill of Rights. After reading through the amendments in the Bill of Rights, I paused and took a walk. So much thought went into these laws and written in layman terms, so to be understood by all. I would suggest spending a day reading the Constitution and Bill of Rights. It will make you think, my Lord, what was, that which these forefathers had to flee or get away from that would cause such great thought and wording for the people? Can you imagine leaving your country, your home, to a new world where you hope to be part of a new world that actually has laws for the people, laws we fight and live for, even as many of us are different, go into the Constitution and Bill of Rights, and we become one again. For there is no law that was created without all of us thought of. Then maybe we will look at each other differently. Perhaps drop our need to be right on any given propaganda or bullshit. Instead, maybe we could thrust out our hands in welcoming our country neighbor and begin conversations that would help all of us to see what it is we need in our country to be genuinely great. Being great is not being a bully, nor is it forceful power. True power is based in the heart. Think about it. Why are we the best? Because we have heart, and that is what drives us. Perhaps we have grown a bit big, and we have gotten caught up in our own small part of the country that we have somehow forgotten what it means to be in partisanship. We are to cooperate with each other and make decisions that are in the best interest for all. Give and take, it is a balance and a dance. We can keep fighting, or we can take just a bit of time to review the basis of that which our country was founded, and then reflect that which we seem so angry or hellbound need to be right for. You see, this country is set up for all of us, not the few, and certainly not the monopolies of foreign or domestic companies. It is our human spirit that makes us truly what we are. These are just some of the things I think about. Blessings and love, Lori. A Voice in the Dark production by Lori Elliot. Remember, we, the people,